Hello, everybody. My name is Oliver G, and this
is Lina Norden G.
Excuse me?
Or the Eiffel Tower.
That's right.
That's right.
Lina Norden G is my wife and the perfect guest for
and
this.
confidant.
Yes. My wife and confidant.
Thank you. That's how I like to be introduced.
She's in great form today, full of energy, despite being how pregnant?
2 pregnant.
2 pregnant.
9 months.
Any day now.
Yes.
And what we're going to do is, this is a season finale. Bet you didn't expect this. This is rounding out the season we've been doing before we get into the audiobook and before I take a little bit of time off because of a little one who's imminently arriving.
You're going to be a papa.
A papa. But what we've done is we put together 5 things we've learned about, especially you're the one that's been pregnant.
Yeah.
But some men say I'm pregnant.
You've been there. You've been around,
5 things we've learned from a pregnancy in Paris. We're going to get through it quickly because, we might have to dash off to the hospital halfway through. But 5 points, we'll go through them, maybe give people an idea, even if you're not pregnant or never thinking to have a baby, or that's long ago for you guys, it might give you an insight into French people.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Works. I think so too.
I think.
So this is the list we've written. We'll get into it. But first, a jingle. Unfortunately, Lina, I'm going to start with the honest truth.
Oh no!
About what pregnancy?
Not too truthful.
About what pregnancy in Paris has done to you.
Oh dear!
At night when you're asleep.
Oh no!
You've turned into Owen Wilson.
What do you mean?
This is the weirdest thing. So I sleep very soundly, and it's very rare that I'm awake when Lina's asleep. But she sleeps a lot more now. And when she sleeps, she started snoring. And when she snores, she like imitates Owen Wilson. And I'm going to show you what it sounds. It gets worse too. So it starts off like this. You ready?
Do you have a recording?
No.
Oh, no, I'm dying.
I wish.
I'm dying.
But I can imitate it. This is how it goes.
Okay.
Wow.
Stop it.
Wow. Wow. Totally.
He has no proof. No proof.
Okay.
I see no proof. I see no recording.
That's actually what it sounds like.
This is slander.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the biggest difference that I've noticed with your pregnancy. But we've got 5 others. But I thought what could be fun is, at the end of an episode, usually I read out an email or review or whatever. I got one in that I thought you'd really like as well. And why don't we start with that, just for fun?
Okay.
I got an email in. So for people who are new to this episode, I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
Some pregnant mom who's coming in expecting really really like sound tips. Yeah. They're coming.
Yeah, maybe.
But if you are new, Lina and I teamed up for the first time and wrote a children's book called Kylie the Crocodile. We get lots of lovely messages and it's very encouraging. But this one was kind of cool. I want to read it to you.
All right.
It's from Allison and it's a long one, so I'll sort of skip through it. Hello, we never met, which I suppose is the case for the majority of your followers. Yes. That's true.
Yeah.
But I want to reach out and say thank you. I enjoy listening to the podcast on my walks to and from work. And often I probe a little bit to see. I try and picture where people are working. But this continues.
You have a curious mind.
I do.
Yeah.
She responded, but I'll get to it in a sec.
Okay.
She says, recently I purchased Kylie the Crocodile to read to my kindergarten students. I teach English to students in South Korea. The book was a big hit.
No way.
They've been asking me to read it every day.
Are you serious?
Thank you for the wonderful content, podcasts, videos, and now literature. I love living in Korea, but it feels nice to be transported to Europe as well. Have a wonderful day. So we get chatting, and I say, I
love that.
Me too. I said, if it's not weird, can you send a picture of you in the class? Because it's so exotic.
Yeah, for sure. That's great.
To imagine. And I got pictures through. Have a look at this. So there's Allison.
Oh my god, I love it.
Reading to a bunch of kids. And there's a bunch of kids in South Korea. Look at their South Korean classroom.
And they're holding the book.
Yeah,
oh, wow. This is amazing.
There's a zebra in the background too.
Yes.
Not a real zebra, mind you.
No, just on the wall.
But isn't that cool?
That is great.
How
oh, wow. Kylie is traveling.
Kylie's traveling.
I love that.
So I thought you'd like to...
Oh, that made me really happy.
Right? Can you even fathom that we made a book that kindergarten children in South Korea are reading?
I find it hard to believe that anyone but my mom is reading it. It's like, it blows my mind a little bit. This is so cool.
It is crazy.
That was an eye-opener.
But anyway.
Awesome.
We, this isn't about that book.
No,
Just thought I'd begin on that.
Yeah.
But we have been working on a second book, haven't we?
We have.
whisper?
Why are we whispering?
Because we're meant to talk about pregnancy in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go to the topic. 5 points. I'm going to start with the last one because I want you guys to think about it, mull it over in the back of your head, see if you can guess the answer to it before we reveal it for the 5th point. And the 5th point is we learned the price of a baby. We literally...
Sounds quite sinister. The black
one we-
market.
We know how much it cost to pay for the hospital visit to give birth because in an unusual story, we had to pay it up front.
Yeah.
No discounts for cash. Didn't have that kind of cash anyway.
Nope.
But we know the price. So think it over in your head. If you're in America, because I've been asking this to friends from all over the world, and no one, it's very rare that people even guess close.
Yeah.
Especially Americans.
It's really like all over the place.
And especially
high
like
and low,
Swedes,
it's-
like Swedes. But anyway,
No one has any
we'll
idea.
explain it at the end, but have a price in your head, and I'll say it in euros at the end
Maybe you should do it in dollar as well. Just,
for the Americans listening.
I was thinking Korean.
The Korean dollar?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a dollar.
Okay, moving on.
But keep that. We will do it in South Korean currency. Number one. Number one on the list of what we've learned from going through a pregnancy in Paris is that bloggers exaggerate.
To high heaven.
They really
They
do.
stress you out. They stress me out. Yeah.
We're specifically talking about bloggers in
Like pregnancy
in
bloggers.
in France or in general.
Well, okay, so when we found out that we're going to be parents in Paris, obviously, you have to do a bit of research because I realized that it wouldn't work as it would have worked in Sweden. It's a different system and like it's so new. So yeah, you just Google around.
You Google around pregnant in Paris.
Exactly.
People are going to find this now if they start looking for it, maybe. Sorry. No, we'll do our best here. But the truth is, and I don't want to name any names because...
No, I don't even remember any names.
But I remember one that was really, like... They say things like, and I'm just going to make this up, but they say things like, the second you're pregnant, you find out you're pregnant, run to the nearest daycare center.
Yeah.
And run to the nearest hospital.
Yeah.
And make sure you've got this. Things that make you panicked, really.
It's like like you're already too late, basically.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. You're already too late with everything, and it kind of freaks you out.
In fact, most of them that we looked at felt like that. And every time we talked to a medical professional about similar things, including one of the big things was getting into the hospital. And...
Securing a spot.
Yeah, and even... Yeah, a lot of people said to us, you've got to get there within the first 3 months no matter what. And I don't think we got our place there until like 5 or 6 months in.
6 months, I think.
And we said to them, oh gosh, we're so sorry that we're late. Is this going to work? And they were like, what are you talking about?
They're like, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine.
It was
don't
really...
worry, don't stress.
They didn't encourage it, so we don't encourage you guys to do it either, but it wasn't like...
Yeah, it wasn't... It just sounded like... If you're not there day one, you're gonna give birth on the street,
As we say this, because it's already a couple months ago for us now, like it would have been 9 months ago that we read those blogs, why didn't we rush? Like, why didn't we let it scare us? Why? I don't even understand.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just you and me, though.
We're quite laid back.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like it's not just I made that example up a little bit, but everything was really stressing, and I think it just adds a lot of stress. So if you are pregnant in Paris, it seems to be the same with a lot of blogs, and I suspect it's something to do with people want to make money out of healthcare books and blogs and stuff.
And like confused first-time parents.
For sure. And the more worried you
abroad.
are, the more that you're going to spend. People probably do the same for tourists in Paris.
I'm sure, yeah.
Like you have to do this and you have to stay in a hotel in the 7th arrondissement like this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's out trying to make a buck.
So don't let it scare you, basically, is what we found out.
Because the healthcare staff and the hospital workers were all so accommodating and friendly. And even the assurance maladie, the people that you call to get your carte vitale and stuff like that. In fact, it was the opposite. They were really warm and welcoming and kind,
really helpful,
and giving time. So yeah, don't be scared about what the bloggers might have written.
Yeah, don't let it stress you out.
But we're not going to write blogs saying all the right stuff. This is the podcast. This is
it.
Yep. Number 2, something we learned is French paperwork
It doesn't take a break during pregnancy. Let me tell you that.
If you read my first book, Paris on Air, about when I set up a bank and I said it was the mother of all paperwork or something like that.
Yeah.
That was nothing.
This is the mother of that mother. This is the grand high mother.
This is la mère. La mère, the paperwork.
Yeah.
Really. And funnily enough, and this is something for another podcast episode, but Lina opened a bank at the same bank that I opened. And in the book, I talked about how much paperwork and how crazy it was. And that bank now does it in 2 seconds. They've changed
so
their
easy.
ways. Yeah. Lina laughed at me.
I know.
still have the paperwork from that first bank.
You do?
And if you don't know what I'm
should we
talking
do with it?
I don't know. It would take too long to burn. But the point is, for pregnancy, it is beyond. I can't even believe how much.
And again, like as a Swede, because the system is so different, we are basically paperless.
You're cashless as well.
We're cashless, paperless society. So in Sweden, it works like you have this personal number, and it's
like a social security number. Yeah,
but it's everything. So you everything's online, everything's connected. Like it's just in the file, in the system, probably in the cloud. I don't know.
It'd be in cloud. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so easy. You just turn up to your appointments, no paper, no nothing, and it's
a bit impersonal though. Like they call you by your number.
Yeah.
It's like Les Miserables, isn't
cattle.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
24601.
But yeah, here it's the opposite.
We have some paperwork for you. Are you expecting a baby today? There is a lot of paperwork, and it's not just like they make extra paperwork. So for one example, and we're going to get into the labs in a second, but we went to one place and they said, we said, can you email the results to us? Because then we've got it safely, you know? And she said, not only that, I'm going to fax it.
Because it's quicker.
She said, yeah, it's much quicker to fax
what?
it. And we said, oh, you don't have to fax it. She goes, no, I'm going to fax it to the other hospital. And so there's these copies and copies and papers and papers. And the other thing we learned about the paperwork is, and we already knew this, I think, that we're rubbish at handling it compared to French people.
Yeah.
And the doctors and the midwives think we're ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we give them a headache every time we come in.
I just realized
like, it's them again.
The first 2 points make us look really bad.
I know, really unorganized.
No, but the way so because it's all foreign to us as well. This is like Lena and I speak all right French, but we don't speak medical French or pregnancy French really, or we're learning it. But
it's a different language.
Yeah, they give you like a just so many words and so many papers, and we don't know what, and all these numbers, which is probably the same for everybody. But you go into the hospital, you don't know what they're going to expect. In fact, we didn't even know what we're going in for sometimes. Like, remember that one that was EPP or whatever?
Yeah. I have no idea. You just show up and you're like, then they're like, "What today? We're going to talk about this." And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Great.
And then they go, "Can I have the XYZ document?" And we go, "Oh God, I don't know which." Okay, let's look.
And we look through our the baby folder, which is not. It's like it's a big baby folder.
And we hold them up, and they go, "No,
we're like,
not that
is this the paper you want?" They're like, "Nah."
It's really weird. And then I've asked them. I usually ask them, when you have French people in here, how do they react? And they said they're so on the ball with it. When I ask for something, they pull it out. It's all color-coded. And French people grow up with this kind of paperwork. And you didn't as a Swede. And just for you guys who don't know anything about Sweden, in Sweden, they're so advanced with this stuff and with cashless society that there are shops, there are hotels, there are restaurants that have big sign out the window, we don't accept cash.
Yeah.
Compared to, we went to visit the Picpus Cemetery in Paris the other day. They only accept cash.
Yeah.
Or there's a florist on Rue Claire that only accepts card over €20. Suspicious.
That's Rue Claire, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's
But I mean, what are they taking? If you pay 19, are they just pocketing the cash? Is that what's happening?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, point 3 on the list. When you're pregnant in Paris, and perhaps around the world, but... I think we just need to take a little pause first, because I just realized something we haven't said. We haven't had a normal pregnancy in Paris, because it's not just PP, as you said, it's PPP.
It's PPP.
Because there's a pandemic.
Pandemic pregnancy in Paris.
So if you guys thought we were going to be talking about, the lovely French gentleman will stand up for you on the metro, we don't know.
No idea.
We've not been on a metro. The waiter will give you the best seat in the restaurant. The restaurants are closed.
Yeah.
The people, of course, we are, you get to stand at the front of a coffee shop and people are friendly and so on, but we don't have that typical experience.
No, and like with the group sessions, the parents to be, that all of that, I know a lot of expecting moms like to go to the pool and do like swimming
That's
classes
closed.
together, but none of that.
So when Lina says that there's no classes, it's because you can't go into the hospital. Technically, Lina can only go in by herself. You're not allowed to have the man with you, or the woman, of course. But in this case, I'm not even allowed in.
No.
Unless I found a loophole. Is this making us look bad as well? Oh gosh,
I don't know.
The loophole is if you're a translator, you can go in.
Yes.
And so when we go into the hospital, Lina doesn't speak a word of French, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, you can really kind of, trip me up there.
Yeah, well,
Little bit.
they go bonjour, and I turn to Lina and go, she said hello. But it's been really helpful for us both going in because we're in a foreign country and it's a bit confusing. But point number 3 was lots of advice is coming your way. I had no idea.
And your way.
What?
And your way.
Oh, my way too.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking to the listener there.
Oh, right. Well, I mean.
But we've got, I assume this is the same in every country, but people are very quick to give tips and advice in Paris, online.
Even if, maybe especially if you're not asking for them.
Unsolicited advice.
Just like chuck it at you.
And even conflicting advice that's
Yes.
different from what the previous person said or different to what they've just said.
Yeah.
So there's lots of
Pretty
advice.
entertaining.
So, I mean, the thing that's difficult about that is it means you end up sort of not listening to any of it.
Yeah, you just go like, yep, thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great, thank you.
But people like a coffee shop owner will give advice. They might
The Guardian
the
is
Guardian.
an expert.
She thinks she's a midwife.
Yeah, I think she thinks she's my midwife.
She's lovely though.
Yeah, she is lovely.
And I will say this, all the confusion has been made a lot easier by the fact that we had a midwife, which I understand is a pretty common thing in France, and I think definitely in Paris, is you get a midwife. We had someone who spoke English. She's Irish. Hello, if you're listening. And, it made a big difference in explaining all the things that were going on and how the French system worked. So we weren't totally on our own. But we've had coffee. I talk about coffee a lot because it's kind of the only thing that's really open in Paris at the moment. So it's easy to go for coffee. But they foist advice on you. Like they'll say, if you're having a cappuccino or whatever, they'll say, you want oat milk with that.
It's true.
That's what happens, isn't
I
it?
was like, oh, yeah. Do I?
Yeah.
Why? Okay.
The other funny piece of advice that I remember really well is from a woman called Tanya. Might be Tanya. She's probably listening. Hi, Tanya.
Hello.
And she stopped me on the street. She's a listener to the show in the Marais, and she said, I got one piece of advice for you, Oliver. And I thought, here's me. I'm thinking, here we go.
Yeah.
She goes, don't listen to anyone's advice.
Hey. That's a good one.
It was confusing, though, too. It was a bit...
Because the advice is,
Yeah.
Is it like 2 minus make a plus?
I felt like I was in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confusing.
But
I like it.
But it was good advice. Thanks, Tanya. But it's true. There's been a lot. So I wonder if that's the same in every country. I assume so.
Probably.
But like Lina said, we can't compare it to giving birth in Sweden or Australia because we haven't done it.
No. No, that's it. This is the first.
Point number 4. I've written lab confusion.
Lab confusion. Yeah.
This was a really new thing for us both.
A huge
And
one, actually.
We made a lot of mistakes in this one.
It's so hard to figure it out. Again, because being Swedish, you just get told to exactly where to go, when to be there.
We're talking about giving blood, by the way. Getting a blood test, basically.
Oh yeah, for any sort of medical appointment, it's just it's kind of decided for you unless you really want to go private or something.
So in Sweden, they'd message you and say, go to this address, give blood
they
on this day.
email you or whatever. But here it's you need to have a bunch of tests done and just find your own way.
So they give you an
You're
ordonnance,
what?
and we don't understand them really. We look at it and it's like in code. Yeah. It says get a blood test. And at first, because we never had to do this in Paris before, there's surely people listening going, oh, that's so obvious.
Yeah.
This is brand new to us.
Yeah.
They say, get a blood test. And we looked at each other. I'm like, where? How?
Like at the hospital?
And
No,
don't forget,
apparently not.
everybody, that all the labs are full of people wanting to get COVID stuff done.
Yeah.
Like little queues of people
And
who
the labs do different things. It's
Yeah.
not just... A lab is not just a lab.
No.
They're not all the same. They specialize in different things. So that's also,
And we didn't know how to even find one. So the first one we went to, we just literally we were having a coffee. It's like the theme of the episode. We were out for a walk in Pigalle, and we found that there was one around the corner in Pigalle, and it was probably the worst. It was closer to a meth lab.
It was not. Yes, maybe it was.
We won't name it because I don't know. I don't think it's wise to, but it was terrible. And once again, Lina had to go in by herself. I wasn't allowed in there. And what was the...
Oh, it was terrible. First of all, it was like messy and dirty. And the guy who's gonna draw the blood, he had no idea what he was doing. He was like, he looked at handwritten notes that was like folded up in his pockets.
Wow.
For like 10 minutes at least.
You were in there so long.
It was so long.
Yeah.
And then he like rearranged the little vials that the blood was going to go into. And he did that for 10 minutes. Yeah. It was crazy. And this was just like a really, really standard first blood test kind of to...
This was to confirm the pregnancy.
Yes.
That's what it was.
It was insane. He was so confused and... to the point that a doctor came in and was like, this is taking a long time. What are you doing?
I remember I was watching the whole thing from the waiting room.
So I was like, oh, and he was wearing like big rubber, like wood cutting boots.
Oh my.
It was so weird.
The thing that's also really weird about it is like if you think, oh, well, you should have looked up the reviews for this blood lab before you went there. On Google reviews, every lab is 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because... if you go in there and they're late to give you only leave a negative review. No one goes, oh, what a great lab, 5 stars, right? So all the reviews say how horrible they all are.
So you have no idea. You have nothing to go on.
And I don't want to go too deep into all this first lab experience because it's been sort of really varied, but just getting the result. Do you remember that? Do you remember like getting the result? They said it'd be online, and then after 3 weeks, they're like, no, you have to come in. And then I went in, and then like 3 weeks later, they sent an extra bill, and like, you didn't pay enough the first time. That place was so bad.
It's so dodgy.
And since then, we've been to, because not only have we moved house and stuff, but we just tried different labs. So we've ended up being in maybe 5, 6 labs, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And sometimes there's great surprises, like that one in Montmartre with the
beautiful tiles.
Yeah, the ceramic lobby.
Yeah, it's so funny. You've been wanting to go into that building for ages, and it turns out to be the lab.
A blood lab.
Where we were going.
I remember sharing that on Instagram stories, and I didn't want people to think either that we had COVID or that you were pregnant because we were going to a blood lab.
So I wrote, say it's a lab?
I said it's a blood lab, but we happened to be walking past it. So, haha, I lied to you all. Anyway, lab confusion. There's a lot more stories going on there, and you know the sort of the weirdness of it all.
Yeah, like just the fact that you have to find your own way.
Yeah,
was so confusing to me, and like the ultrasound is in a different place, and they're different. It was just all over the place.
It's very good fodder for a second book, I'd say. What? Children's book.
Oh yeah, of course.
No, but there are lots of good stories, and a lot of them I'm not sharing with you yet because they're
too good.
They're too good.
Too long, maybe.
Yeah, and speaking of, let's get on to point 5, the price of a baby.
Oh yeah.
We'll end on this. Point 5. I'm going to put it into the old calculator here, so we can get it in.
How many ones?
Let's start with ones.
Yeah.
So it is 5.7 million South Korean won.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa, you already knew what it was. Okay, but let's do it in euros. Have you had your guesses, everybody? The story behind it is Lina's carte vitale hadn't quite come through yet, so we had to pay up front. And in France, it all gets reimbursed. Thank goodness. What a wonderful healthcare system. But in euros, it is 4,200 euros, which in US dollars is 5,070. So 5072. And let's put it in Australian too for you Australian listeners. It is 6,500.
Yeah.
So every time I've told that to someone, they've had a really different reaction. Some people have been like, I can't believe it's so expensive. I can't believe it's so cheap. And I guess it's all relative. It was about what I kind of anticipated it to be. I knew it'd be a couple thou. It wouldn't be cheap, right?
No, I guess not.
Yeah.
I guess not. No, of course.
But it's all new for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, expensive baby.
Expensive baby. It's all in all, it's so cool to be able to do it in a different country from where both of us come from. And just finding your own way is like, well, it's quite an adventure.
I would say in terms of I'm really hesitant to say in terms of advice because I just said don't listen to anyone's advice. But I think this is pretty relevant. It's just take it easy.
Yeah.
Don't stress.
Yeah.
Because people seemed, you know what we talked about?
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's like holidays. We're not talking about birth here. We're talking about the pregnancy thing, which we've done now. But it's like holidays. Like some people, when they plan a holiday, go crazy and panic and buy everything and say, "Oh, I have to buy the latest guide to this or whatever. I have to buy my metro tickets in advance." And other people will just travel, and it depends who you are.
Yeah.
So take your own journey is my tip for you all.
That's a good tip. I like that.
Let's finish on a little sort of look ahead, if you don't mind bearing with me here, Lina.
Please.
This is the season finale because we've pre-recorded this. Probably this could be the day before you go into the hospital.
Yeah, I do kind of feel a little bit funky.
Really? We've just, to let you guys know when it is, we've just done the American Library of Paris event for Kylie the Crocodile, reading into a computer with lots of children watching. That was really fun.
It was so sweet.
And now this is rounding out a season that's been, a word about this season, it's been a super unusual time to be in Paris. And I've done my best to make the most of it, to get into places that usually would be crowded with tourists or not open to the public or whatever. Tried to use these unusual rules to our advantage to get some really cool shows and podcast episodes and YouTube videos for you guys. So I'm talking about, I'm thinking about anyway, like the Chateau Vaux-le-Vicomte.
That was a good one.
The Montmartre vineyard, getting in there, but also taking a few risks, having some fun, climbing up onto rooftops, sneaking into courtyards, looking for the Philippe Auguste wall. It's been a fun season. I think it's really grown. And I think the show's really grown. So thanks to everyone who's been listening and been part of it. As for me, I'm going to take a short break from this podcast for the first time since I started in 4 years, I think.
That's crazy.
I know.
Are you excited?
I am excited. Of course I'm excited because I'm going to take some time to be with the new family.
Yeah.
So if you've listened this far, I can tell you that the very next episode you're going to hear on this podcast is going to be the audio experience for Paris on Air. And I know I've said this before, but I'll say it one more time. This is not an audiobook. I'm not an audiobook person. Are you?
Not really. It happens, but not really. But this
is an audio experience. If you're a podcast person, you're going to dig it. And this took me the whole first lockdown to make. It's got all the you're in it.
Yeah.
Lina features heavily. And what I...
no Owen Wilson impersonation here. Or maybe...
What I can recommend is if you do or listen to it, hang around at the end because I'm leaving in the extra interviews I did with the characters from the books. So when the chapter finishes from the wedding scene, for example, I interviewed my grandma. I was like, how do you remember that wedding scene? So it's really it's a lot of a deeper read. So even if you've read Paris on Air, I think you get something out of it. Plus lots of sound effects, lots of music, and a whole lot of fun. I haven't figured out whether I'll release 1 a week, 2 a week, whatever yet. But that's going to be the next 9 episodes of the Earful
I'm going to
Tower.
listen to it again.
I think I'm going to listen to it again because it's...
Definitely.
I think it'll remind us of all the stuff we've done, but of the lockdown too.
Yeah.
Because one of the character voices was the lady next door who I met on the balcony during the lockdown, the strict lockdown. Anyway, that's what's coming for the next 9 episodes on the Eiffel Tower. I'll hope that you'll forgive me for taking a little break from the podcast, but I think it's very important.
I think it's going to be great.
But also I want to say a thank you to the Patreon supporters who allowed me to use this audio experience, which was originally a perk for the Patreon members, and they agreed to let me release it publicly. And I'll say it now, if you enjoy it, if you've enjoyed the show, if you enjoy the Eiffel Tower in general, have a think about becoming a Patreon member, patreon.com/the Eiffel Tower, or why not buy one of the books? And the easiest way to do it, and the best way to do it, is the EiffelTower.com/shop. And I'll end on this. If you're totally strapped for cash, or if you already got the books or whatever, and you still want to help out, no need to send gifts or anything. It's very kind, some of the emails you get. No need, absolutely no need. Best thing you can do, tell your friends about the show. Help it grow, leave a review. That stuff's all free to do and really easy and really appreciated. As for me, and as for Lina, and as for the upcoming little one, we say merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
And au revoir.
Bye-bye.
On to this next exciting chapter.